Ciao, I'm Mary Ann Esposito.
And I'm Eddie Payne, and today we're going to have some fun with focaccia.
You bet. No matter how big or small your kitchen may be, one trip to Trimark in Boston and your every need is filled. From pots to pans to flatware and china, they've got it all, including the talents of store manager, Chef Eddie Payne, who loves to cook in their demonstration kitchen. Today it's focaccia, and you're invited. So you're going to make your favorite focaccia dough, right?
I am.
But this dough you can use for a variety of things, right? You can do different things with the focaccia.
That's what's fun about it.
That's what's fun about it. So we have to start with a yeast, right?
Yeah, so
Okay.
we're going to use an active dry yeast that you can
Yep.
buy in your local grocery store.
Yep.
And we're going to blossom it or bloom it in some room temperature
I
water.
like that word, blossom.
So we're
Or
gonna-
proof it, right?
Proof it, yes.
So the water, we should tell people, doesn't have to be real hot because we don't want to kill the yeast.
Right.
So I would say about 110. You know, if you're using an instant read thermometer, about 110. So dissolve. How much water did you use there?
So the recipe calls for 1 cup of water.
Okay.
And that's because that water is going to be used in the dough.
Okay.
So we're going to go with the yeast, and then we're actually going to take, and I like to whisk it here just to
Okay.
get it
Dissolved.
dissolved and activated.
So the important thing when you're working with active dry yeast, when you buy it, the packets, is to look on the packet and make sure that there is an expiration date on it. You want
Absolutely.
to make sure you've got active dry yeast. So if
Yep.
you're not sure, what could you do here? You could add a pinch of sugar because yeast loves to feed on sugar. So if it's really active, it will feed on that sugar, and if it's dead, well, nothing will happen and you'll have to start over.
Right.
All right, so you're whisking all of that together.
So we're gonna
Yeah.
get the yeast in there to make it active.
Okay.
And then
You need.
extra virgin olive oil, which is
Okay.
a favorite of mine, and we're gonna put about 1, 2, 3 nice tablespoons. You can't really use too much extra virgin olive oil, as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
So about 3 nice tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil,
Uh-huh.
and a nice
Pinch of salt.
heavy pinch of salt, because
Okay.
it is sea salt in rosemary focaccia.
Okay.
And then we are going to go with some.
So I noticed
Wonderful.
you added the salt right away.
Yes.
That's interesting because usually I wait to add the salt because I know that salt will sometimes slow down the activity of the yeast. But I'm learning something today. So you added it all together and now you're going to put the herbs in with it.
I am. I'm going to add,
Okay.
and we're also going to, at the end, we're going to put some sea salt on top of the focaccia with more rosemary.
Okay, good. So we want to use fresh herbs here, right?
Absolutely.
We don't want to use dried herbs.
And we're gonna cut. We're gonna
Okay.
little bit of cut
little
on the
chop.
rosemary just to release the oils.
That's right, to get the oils. Yeah, I
So-
can smell that. That's great. So how did this recipe come about? Is this something that's a family favorite?
Yes, it's something that because we wanted to make focaccia at home, and we weren't going to use a biga
Yeah.
or a starter dough.
A starter dough.
A starter dough. Me and the kids decided to look online and figure out some recipes with the active dry yeast,
Okay.
and it's just something fun. And you'll see at the end, there's many different things we can do with the focaccia once it's made.
Exactly. So
So
this
the
is our
rosemary
basic
goes in
dough.
there,
All right,
and
now.
then of course bread flour, right?
Yes.
So we're gonna
That's
go.
important when making focaccia. You want to use bread flour. And the reason we want to use it is because it's got a lot of gluten. And we need that.
We need to work that gluten.
We need to work that gluten. You couldn't really use a flour like a cake flour because that's a low protein flour. It doesn't have enough structure, doesn't have enough gluten. It would never work for this. You'd be swearing because
Yes.
nothing would be happening. So a high gluten flour.
And we're gonna start with 2 cups.
Okay.
Just to get our dough rolling. We're gonna add a little bit more in.
Yeah.
But we want to incorporate the bread flour.
So you want to add just enough flour to give you a Goldilocks dough. It's not too dry.
Exactly.
And it's not too wet. It's just right. And how are you going to know that? By making it, right?
That is brilliant, actually. And that,
By using your hands.
you know, that's another secret to making focaccia. Make it more than once.
Right,
It's
make it more than once.
extremely relaxing.
Let me get you some flour.
Yes,
So you don't
please.
have to get your...
Probably about another
Well, we
3/4 of a cup.
We don't know yet. We'll see. Let's see. Everything is in the hands. Round the dough.
Round it, and
Yep.
then I'm going to take another pan,
Yeah.
another bowl, and once again add some of my favorite ingredient again.
Okay, you really like using
I
a lot of
love
olive oil.
I love
Okay.
olive oil. Olive oil and Parmigiano cheese
Okay.
are very important to me. And
And-
then we're going to cover it, and it's got to sit for about 2 hours. Actually,
2 hours. And
2
that
hours.
slow rise is really going to develop the flavor. That's
right.
important. And now, the great unveiling. Wow.
Of the dough.
And this has been rising for 2 hours.
2 hours.
And you know how I know that that's perfectly risen?
because of the bubbles.
I do
Beautiful.
that. And if that indentation stays there without closing up,
Oh,
I
very
know
nice.
that dough is ready.
Very nice. Nice job.
Great
See that?
job. Okay.
I love to learn. That's
Okay.
a good one.
And you're going to dump out that dough.
I am, and also too, you don't want to handle the dough too much.
Right.
Right.
All those bubbles, you don't want
right,
those going away.
So you really want to be delicate.
Yes.
With it. Kind of like one of your kids.
Right. I just put it right in here and press it out.
That's exactly what we're going to do.
Okay.
So we're just going to lift it up.
Beautiful. See?
And exactly right. We're
Isn't
just
that
going to
gorgeous?
press it out.
Yeah.
And
And if you know,
and once again,
you know, if you just let it sit for a few minutes, it'll just go right into to place. But this is gorgeous. It's a good
And-
dough.
right, like you said, the nice thing about artisan Italian food is the shape really doesn't matter. We're not looking for
Yes. No.
anything perfect.
No.
We like irregular, as a matter of
We
fact.
do.
It's a little bit
Because
more
then
natural.
we know it's homemade, right?
Exactly. So now that the dough is in our pan,
Right.
what we're going to do is we're going to take our moist rag and cover it back up.
Okay.
And we're going to let it sit for about an hour and a half, 2 hours.
An hour and a half.
And we're ready to go.
Look at our fingerprints.
love it.
Still there. Okay.
Absolutely.
So now we're going to top it. Okay.
I am. I'm gonna put a little bit of olive oil in our dimples, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to put a little bit more rosemary on top, and you're going to add a little sea salt, and then in the oven we're going to go for about 20 minutes at 425 degrees. And this is really nice because you're just picking off some rosemary. And
Now, are you going to push that rosemary in?
I am.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because when this rises, of course, again in the oven, all of that is going to kind of be enveloped into the dough.
And you know, this is rosemary and sea salt, but a lot of people like to add caramelized onions to the top of this
How
at
about
this
olives?
point. Olives at the
are
top
good.
of it.
Sun-dried tomatoes.
Roasted tomatoes too.
Cheese. There's a whole,
There's-
whole variety of things you could do with this.
I just find that the rosemary and sea salt,
Yeah, that's classic.
it's a classic
That's
focaccia
classic.
that you can do many things with
Yes.
afterwards, which we're
Yes.
going to find out.
Right. Well,
Which
those
is-
little secrets that you have about focaccia.
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to
Yeah, and I think I'm good to go.
over the top.
All right. There we are.
Can't get more gorgeous than that, I don't think, you
No,
know. And the
and-
smell, too, is beautiful.
It's really nice, and there's some. Now we can show you some really fun,
Things to do.
wonderful things that we can do with our focaccia.
Okay.
And what I like to do is I like to quarter it, right? So I take it and I quarter the focaccia, because now we have 4 pretty nice size sections that we can.
Right.
We
Two
can.
pieces for you and 2 for me.
Exactly. And so the first thing that I wanted to do is we're going to make a version of a panzanella salad.
A panzanella salad. Tuscany, yes.
So
All right.
panzanella salad, simply stated, is bread salad.
Right.
And what we're going to do is I love arugula.
Yeah, okay.
I love lemon and balsamic. And
Okay, so you're going to do that.
we're
with
going to
the-
make a nice little bread salad. So I'm going to take it. I'm going to
Cut it
take
in
our
cubes.
focaccia, right?
So you know, panzanella, you know what the word means? Means in a swamp. So this is bread in a swamp because the bread is moist. It's wet. So this is a typical bread salad idea that originated really in Tuscany. So the panzanella you have usually with tomatoes, and sometimes the bread will be dipped in vinegar and water and squeezed. But you're doing it a little differently today because you wanted me to cut you some lemons, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to cut up some lemons for you because you're not using vinegar, you're going to use lemon.
I am.
Okay,
And
all right.
I'm also
And then now
going
you're
to take these wonderful tomatoes.
Yeah,
These,
salad tomatoes.
they are. I believe these came off of Tangerini's farm,
Oh,
which is a local farm near my house. And
This is a great summer salad.
it really is.
Yeah.
And you know, the nice thing about this too is it's just a whole rough chop thing.
Yeah.
Like you don't need, there's nothing.
It doesn't have to be perfect.
Nope. And
Should I squeeze some
some
lemon juice
lemon
on that?
right in there, yes.
Okay, yeah. Pits and all. That way you know it's fresh squeezed.
100%.
Yeah.
That's what we do. Just like at home, right?
Yeah, right.
And so we're going to add some more tomatoes in there. And then I have some fresh mozzarella that
Okay.
we're going to put in there, right? So
I don't want to put too much lemon juice, and we'll taste it afterwards and see
a
if
little
it needs
mozzarella.
more. Okay.
And then we're going to go in with some arugula.
Arugula, okay. Beautiful. What a pretty color, huh?
Right?
And so the arugula has a peppery
It
taste
does.
to
Nice
it,
bite
so-
to it. Love the
Okay.
bite. And of course, we're going to go with
Basil?
very shortly, but we
Okay.
need some salt and pepper. And I know I didn't lose my salt
Here you
and
go.
pepper.
Right here. Here's salt.
Salt,
Okay.
right?
And pepper.
Little salt in there. And
Pepper's right
little
there.
Pepper.
Okay. This goes together very quickly.
Yeah.
Now, would you let this sit around at all to let that bread really absorb any of these
You
flavors?
could for
Yeah.
a few minutes.
Okay.
And then what we're going to do, of course, back
More
to
extra virgin olive oil.
extra virgin olive oil, which is
Beautiful.
my favorite, and it's a nice simple dressing.
Yes.
For
Yeah.
for a simple salad. And then I also have a little bit of aged balsamic.
Okay.
So you can pick some aged balsamic up in any specialty Italian store, or you could just use a
Oh, I'm ready. Just leave it in the bowl. I'm
balsamic
ready.
vinegar.
I'm
right?
ready. Yeah.
And then
Great.
we are going to take some basil.
Okay.
And I'm going to quickly chiffonade at it, or
Okay.
give it just a little bit of
Chop.
there.
Okay, put that in at the end.
Okay, and
Gorgeous.
I think we're going to mix it together.
Mix that together.
And this is going to be really
Beautiful. So at this point, we have a delicious salad, but you're going to add another twist to this.
I am, just because it's a beautiful time of year for a nice, lovely salad, and what we're going to add to it. And now you see, just like you had mentioned, how the bread has got nice and
Right,
moist in
yes,
there.
yes.
Nice and wet, right?
Yes,
And so
yes.
then I'm going to take this and put it over here, and I have some wonderful,
Beautiful
tasty
shrimp.
and
Okay,
so
you want to build it now, the
I
salad?
do. So we're going to take this lovely salad
Let me move
mixture,
that
and
down.
the bread is nice and moist, which is what we like.
Okay,
And
beautiful. Oh,
really looks nice on this
oh my
plate.
gosh, that's gorgeous.
You chose this plate, didn't you?
I did, because I think it's, as they say, Italian food is happy food. What can I say? It really is.
This is a really
Beautiful.
tasty,
And healthy, too.
Tasty salad.
This is a
yeah.
great
Don't forget, we have
healthy dish.
one of my other favorite things on the finish this thing off with, because the finishing, what I find with salads like this is finishing is the key.
Is the key,
Is
okay.
how we finish it, right? So I'm going to throw some lovely shrimp, just like that, and then we're going to finish, because finishing
Okay.
is the key to success, right?
Okay.
And what are we going to finish it with?
Oh, some Parmigiano Reggiano. Of course. Beautiful,
shaved-
the king of cheeses.
Some
cow's milk
shaved
cheese.
Parmigiano. You don't want to be
my.
shy with it, right? And then, of course, one last time, just
More
for
olive oil.
well, because you
Yeah.
really want to go around, because the olive oil has wonderful flavor.
Right.
And then we have a lovely panzanella salad made with focaccia bread, shrimp,
Tomatoes,
Tomatoes.
lemon juice, arugula. What's not to like? A triumph.
absolutely. Some more fun with focaccia.
Okay, yeah, fun with focaccia. I love that, yes.
More fun with focaccia. So what we're going to make now is a focaccia flatbread, right?
Yeah.
So maybe like as a wonderful appetizer to share, as a shared plate appetizer, or if you wanted, you could use it as your entree, right?
A summer salad, if you want it to be a summer.
So we have some lovely cherry tomatoes.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go with some fresh mozzarella. A little bit smaller with the mozzarella.
Okay. Tiny dice. See, the thing is, the more you cook, the more you come up with ideas.
Exactly.
Isn't that true?
That's right.
The more you cook, and then you start to put things together in your mind that this is a great idea.
Right. And
doing all these different things with the focaccia.
then I'm going to go in here with extra virgin olive oil.
You need sale?
Some salt.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think you should mix it together, and we'll put it over the focaccia, and we're going to pop it in the oven for a couple minutes, probably only like 2 or 3 minutes, just to let the mozzarella get soft and warm.
So you want this to warm, right?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay. Beautiful idea. Could you use a different cheese? Yeah.
We could, well, and don't forget, we're also going to naturally finish it.
Oh, we're not done yet. We have put other things on here, too.
Yeah, we're not close to being done with that.
Okay, this is pretty. I like the fact that we've used 2 colors of tomatoes.
This lovely focaccia we're going to finish in a very special way.
Okay. I think that's enough, otherwise it's all
Beautiful.
gonna fall around. Okay, good.
Great. And
Beautiful.
I'm going to place it in the oven.
Okay.
I'm going to put it in the oven
I'll
at,
eat what's left in the bowl.
about 450 degrees. All right, so we have a lovely focaccia flatbread.
Al forno, yes, beautiful.
Right? And we're going to make sure we don't lose any of these
tomatoes, and the cheese
tomatoes.
holds it in place. Yeah.
Right, and then we're going to finish it in a very special way, which is I stopped by the butcher shop.
Oh.
And I picked up some 24-month-old aged Galone prosciutto.
All right.
And so we're going to just lay the prosciutto
drape it right over there.
right on top like that.
Wow, there's a meal on a bun, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then we can move that over there, and then we're going to cut it.
Yes.
And then we're going to finish it on the plate. So we're
Okay.
just going to, I'm going to give it a couple whacks like that, and like that, right?
Yes.
We're looking pretty good there.
It's looking excellent.
Then we're going to move it to a lovely plate. So you have 4 share appetizer
I'll eat that
skewers,
one.
if you will. And then, of course, we can't be done yet. So
Nope, we're not done.
we need to go with a little
a
bit
little
of
extra virgin.
finished
yeah.
extra virgin olive oil,
And
some
fresh basil.
fresh basil. Go like that.
Very pretty.
And then, of course, some shaved Parmigiano, because we don't want to leave that out.
Beautiful.
And finally, just a little bit
The balsamic glaze.
of the balsamic glaze, just
That just dresses it up.
like that.
Golly.
And you have a wonderful shared
Yes. A great
Lovely
appetizer, right?
focaccia appetizer.
A focaccia antipasto. Beautiful.
super.
Are we out of ideas yet?
I think we
don't
got
think
one more.
so.
I think we have one more. Fun with focaccia.
Fun with focaccia, yeah. So, Eddie, you said to have fun with focaccia.
I did.
So, this is my answer to that. You can do a dessert focaccia, very simply. And all I have here is some ricotta cheese that I've flavored with some honey, or you could just use regular sugar. I used both. Honey, regular sugar, some cinnamon, some orange zest, a little bit of the orange juice. And then I have some fruits ready. But first, all you really want to do is spread
This is
some
lovely.
of this. Yeah.
This is lovely.
A nice way to have the focaccia as a dessert. So you spread it over the top. And if you really want to make a great ricotta, you can go to our website and get the recipe. So, ricotta goes on.
I'm going to make ricotta right here next week.
So easy to do. And then you just start building fruits.
Super. So we have some poached nectarines and
Yes.
peaches, right?
Yes,
Sort
and
of
I kind of overlap them,
This
kind
looks
of put different
Oh boy,
ones together. Start over here.
this
and
is
of
going to
course
be
you
delicious.
need a fork and knife to eat this. It just can be random. It doesn't have to be. Sometimes I use cherries, I use apricots, I use whatever is in season.
Once again, how refreshing is that?
And then I just take some oranges, put them at the edge of the plate I've sugared them a little bit. Okay, like so.
Nice. And I think I
then
have just a
You
little
could put
bit
a
of
few little herbs. Here we're using
a
thyme.
little bit of fresh thyme just to.
You could use mint
Just
if you
to-
wanted to. And
Wow.
that's it. And you eat it with a fork and knife. And if
Nice
you
job.
want, you can give it just another little drizzle of honey over the top.
That is spectacular.
There you have it.
Wonderful. So much fun with focaccia. So, the simplest way to serve the focaccia.
After all that, the fruit focaccia, the panzanella focaccia, the prosciutto focaccia, now we have
This is a bread
the
course.
original focaccia.
As a bread course, right?
a
You
bread
can just kind
course.
of build it, kind of
Beautiful.
make some fun.
Yeah, uh-huh.
A little bit more rosemary,
Right?
a little bit of sea salt on top here.
Lovely.
Of course, I have some extra virgin olive oil, but that's also too. That's a first press Sicilian extra virgin olive oil.
Wonderful.
It's one of my favorites.
Singing
We
to me. Oh, boy.
Go a little bit over the top like that,
You need a napkin for this.
and then
Yeah.
just a tiny bit
Parmigiano Reggiano.
of Parmigiano, and we can take that to the table.
Beautiful.
Folks can enjoy that with a nice glass of red wine or white wine, or maybe with their pasta dish. Or
It's gorgeous. And you see what you can do with one simple dough. That one simple dough.
that was it. It made four. So we started out with that dough. We cut it into 4 segments, and look at all of the wonderful focaccia dishes we had. I
and
think
you
we had a
thought
lot of
we
fun with focaccia.
but we had fun
We did.
with focaccia.
We certainly did.
Eddie, how many ways can you say focaccia?
Many different ways, I think, and we didn't even cover them all. I don't think.
No, we could have gone on and on, but we
Absolutely.
started right there. Tell us about that.
So we made a rosemary and sea salt focaccia bread.
Yeah.
We made that together today, and then from there we quartered it, if you will, to do some other fun stuff.
Right.
We made a focaccia flatbread with cherry tomatoes, mozzarella cheese, galone prosciutto, extra virgin olive oil, balsamic glaze.
Beautiful. And don't forget the Parmigiano
And the
Reggiano.
Parmigiano. Yeah, we were going to say that a couple times, I think, Parmigiano. Here we made a panzanella salad
Yeah.
with farmhouse roasted tomatoes,
Yes.
mozzarella cheese, lovely seared shrimp,
Arugula.
arugula, extra virgin olive oil, lemon juice, and Parmigiano.
And Parmigiano. Beautiful.
And you did this lovely thing.
A dessert focaccia.
I couldn't believe it. I
yeah,
loved it.
which we did with ricotta that we flavored with some sugar and honey, orange zest, and then we topped it with some poached fruits. You could use any kind of fruits that are in season. So it's a great diversion from just a savory to a sweet. And then, of course,
Completely amazing. Then here is the simplest way to serve our focaccia,
Right.
which is with first pressed Sicilian extra virgin olive oil, a little bit of Parmigiano cheese, some rosemary, and it's wonderful with a glass of wine or some pasta dishes. And I think we had some focaccia fun.
we had some focaccia fun. I can't thank you enough, Eddie. This was just wonderful. So until I see you Nella Cucina again, I'm Mary Ann Esposito.
I'm Eddie Payne.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Don't even think about coming to Rome without walking down the Via Condotti. This is the shopping center of Italy if you have un sacco di soldi, a big bag of money, un sacco di soldi, because all of the big names are here. Look, Gucci, Prada, Bulgari, you've got them all. And of course, these are the top designers. And I always think of it as a street where there are a lot of lookers, but not too many takers, because it's, as I say, extremely expensive. But anyone who is visiting Rome definitely has to come down and just look at the windows, because the windows themselves are works of art, are fashionable, are one of a kind. So Via Condotti, keep that in mind, and the men can leave their wallets really safe inside their pockets, while the women go shopping